A little girl named Rose discovers her mother laying still in a disorganized room following an overdose at the beginning of the film. Rose Cotter, now an adult, receives a phone call when she wakes up years later. She goes to work as a therapist and meets Carl, one of her patients. Carl is terribly distraught and keeps bringing up death and his impending death. Rose attempts to reassure him that although his emotions are genuine, they are not capable of harming him. Carl is still somewhat afraid, though. Rose receives a call shortly after regarding Laura Weaver, a young lady. A week ago, Laura was present at a terrifying incident where a professor at her school used a hammer to end his own life in front of her. The only one who witnessed it was Laura. Laura is curled up in a corner, obviously scared, when Rose first sees her. Laura informs Rose that she sees a monster that can resemble a variety of individuals, whether or not they are familiar, something that others cannot. Laura answers no when Rose asks if she can see it immediately. However, Laura responds that when Rose does see it, it grins, but it's a menacing and malevolent smile. Laura adds that it has told her that she will soon pass away. Rose tries to clarify that following a significant trauma, our minds might occasionally cause us to perceive unreal things. Laura feels really agitated all of a sudden. When Rose notices Laura's worry, she calls for assistance. However, she notices Laura's eerie smile when she turns to face him. Laura then snatches a fragment of a shattered vase and, grinning icily, slits her own neck, passing away in front of Rose. Help comes too late, leaving Rose stunned. Joel, one of the investigators Rose later talks to, was formerly her lover. She recalls that before she passed away, Laura appeared to be extremely paranoid, believing that something malevolent was smiling and following her. Rose is still deeply affected by what occurred, even after returning home to her fiancé Trevor and their cat, Mustache. Rose believes she sees Laura at her home that evening, grinning at her. Rose tells Trevor that one of her patients passed away that day, which frightens her. Rose and Trevor have supper at her sister Holly's place the following evening. Holly lashes out at Rose throughout the lunch for failing to remember her nephew Jackson's birthday. Rose becomes defensive since she is still furious about everything. Rose returns to work the following day, attempting to focus. When her sister Holly calls, she requests the police report on Laura's case and begins reading it. After their argument, they reconcile, but Rose believes she sees someone who resembles Laura as she glances out the window. Holly requests that Rose at least get Jackson a birthday gift. Rose later spots Carl in his room, grinning strangely, exactly like Laura. "You're going to die," Carl tells Rose often when she speaks to him. Carl is sleeping when others arrive after Rose calls for assistance. Dr. Morgan Desai, Rose's supervisor, becomes concerned about her and orders her to take a week off to recuperate. Rose visits a shop on her way home to get a present for Jackson. Her home's alarm goes off that evening. The rear door is open when Rose goes to examine the house. Then, she receives an odd call with peculiar inquiries from someone posing as the security firm. As it turns out that the call is from a malevolent power that is haunting her, Rose becomes alarmed and realizes something is off. Later, Rose hears an odd voice in the background of Laura's therapy session tape. She sees Laura arrive as she puts up the volume and hears the voice calling her name. Trevor enters as Rose cries, startled to see that she is brandishing a knife. "Please put it down," he begs her. Rose sees Dr. Madeline, her personal therapist, the next day. She shares with her the horrifying experiences she's had since Laura passed away. Dr. Madeline speculates that Rose may be experiencing these images as a result of her unresolved guilt over the loss of her mother. Rose acknowledges that she has been hearing and seeing things, particularly Laura's visions, but she believes that something far more sinister is taking on. Rose attends Jackson's birthday celebration over the weekend. When Jackson gets her gift, everyone is gathered around, anticipating a toy train. Rather, he discovers Mustache, their deceased cat, inside the box. Incredulous, Rose maintains that she did not place anything there. Rose notices one of the other mothers grinning eerily and malevolently among the confusion. Rose takes a step back out of fear and hurts herself as she falls into a glass table. After being brought to the hospital, Morgan, her supervisor, pays her a visit. Morgan advises her to take extra time off since he is worried about her mental health. Rose tries to explain that something wicked is following her and producing bizarre happenings, much like it did with Laura, when she and her fiancé Trevor come home. She is accused of being insane by Trevor, who doesn't trust her and even holds her responsible for their missing cat, mustache. Rose begins looking into Laura's situation because she is determined to discover answers. She finds out about Gabriel Munoz, Laura's professor. She hears a faint voice calling her name as she is doing research. She momentarily notices her deceased mother standing behind her when she switches out the lights. When Rose meets Gabriel's widow Victoria the next day, she learns that Gabriel thought something was haunting him before to his death. He had terrible images of a beast attempting to take control of him. After seeing Rose Gabriel's unsettling drawings, Victoria becomes enraged when Rose talks about her own similar experiences and accuses her of making fun of Gabriel's passing. Rose is expelled from the home. Rose comes to her ex-boyfriend Joel, a detective, in dire need of more assistance. Joel reluctantly agrees to assist. After seeing a guy impale himself at a petrol station, they find another victim, Angela Powell, who died horribly by gouging out her own eyes. They notice that the man smiles in the same uncanny manner as Laura and Carl when they check the surveillance tape. When Rose returns home, she learns that Trevor, thinking Rose is losing control, has phoned her therapist, Madeline, for an urgent session. After becoming enraged and accusing Trevor of being just concerned with his personal image, Rose ends their relationship and leaves. After that, she visits her sister Holly and informs her that she is cursed and that evil is pursuing her. Holly claims that Rose is suffering a mental breakdown, similar to what happened to their mother, and she doesn't trust her. Rose is offended by this and accuses Holly of leaving their mother and leaving Rose to take care of her by herself. Rose departs in frustration, but she believes she sees Holly coming as she gets into her car. It turns out to be the creature, though, and it keeps torturing her. Joel gives Rose a call that evening with fresh details. He has discovered a troubling trend. 20 suicides have occurred, all of which are related to one another. Robert, one of the victims, killed a stranger 4 days after witnessing his business partner commit himself. The chain continued when the witness to that murder took their own life. Joel and Rose pay Robert a visit in prison. Rose tells a fib, claiming that her patient is seeing horrific things after a guy committed himself in front of her. Robert knows right away and informs her that killing someone in front of witnesses is the only way to lift the curse. Robert becomes alarmed when Rose claims she is incapable of killing someone because he believes she has brought the thing with her. He must be restrained by the guards. After getting home, Rose turns down Madeline's call and then gets a text from Trevor requesting a conversation. Madeline soon arrives at Rose's residence and demands that Rose demonstrate that she poses no threat to herself or others. Rose hears Madeline's voice on the other end of the phone as it rings while they are conversing. Rose recognizes the thing in disguise as the person standing in front of her, and it gives her a threatening smile and says, "It's almost time." Rose chooses to break the curse because she feels stuck. With the intention of killing Carl, she picks up a knife and goes to work. Carl freaked out when he sees her. Rose awakens just in time to see Carl tear his face off, but it was only a nightmare. When Morgan spots the knife, he goes to her car, but Rose leaves before he can stop her. Joel calls, but Rose tells him that in order to protect others, she must withdraw and goes to the house where her mother died when she was a youngster. The scene becomes even more eerie as Rose arrives at her old, gloomy childhood house without power. She enters her mother's room, bringing up a distressing memory. When Rose was younger, her mother had pleaded with her to call for assistance, but she had fled because she was too afraid. As an adult, Rose discovers her mother in the room, sobbing, and hears odd noises. Her mother gets up, acknowledges that she wasn't a good mother, and asks Rose if she feels embarrassed by her. She also accuses Rose of failing to save her. With tears in her eyes, Rose acknowledges that she was afraid of her mother and believed she was a monster. She admits that she has lived her entire life with the guilt of her mother's passing, but she is finally prepared to let it go. At that moment, Rose recognizes that this is not her mother, but rather the malevolent force as her mother's face contorts into an unsettling smile. The creature changes into a towering, frightful, long-haired, eerie imitation of her mother. It strikes Rose, telling her she can never escape her own mind, after taunting her by claiming her mind is an easy target. In a desperate attempt to set the thing on fire, Rose tosses a lamp at it after fighting back and breaking the creature's arm. As she watches the thing burn, she flees the house. Rose apologizes for bringing Joel into her nightmare as she makes her way to his flat. She also apologizes for her treatment of him during their time together. Joel graciously offers to remain with her forever when she asks if she may sleep with him. Joel then gives off the same unsettling grin that each victim has had. Rose understands that the curse still holds her captive. When Rose tries to flee Joel's attack, she ends up back at the house she grew up in. Joel reappears and requests that she unlock the door. Rose rushes inside in panic and confronts the monster once more. The beast moves at her, tearing off its own face in front of her before forcing its way inside by opening her jaws wide. When Joel breaks into the house in the last scene, he finds Rose smearing herself with kerosene. With the same ominous grin as the other damned victims, she turns to confront him. Joel watches in horror as Rose sets herself on fire. Now that the curse has fully taken hold, it is prepared to expand once again. Rose burns as the film comes to a close, her fate decided.